Assalamu alaikum, dear viewers. I'm re-recording this video because in the previous video there was some lagging issue and there was some technical problems. So, as this game is a very important game of a recent tournament, Balochistan Qualification Chess Championship, and it was the round 5 match. We both, me, Dr. Ayoub, and Musawir Khan were having 4 points, and we were paired in the fifth round, and Musawir Khan was having white. So uh, he played e4, which is the main weapon of Musawir Khan, the best by test, and I replied with c5, inviting a real fight. He played knight f3, not revealing his intentions yet, what he's going to play. And I replied with knight c6, which is a option for crazy positional fight. I was expecting Musawir Khan to play c3, his main opening, the delayed elephant. But after the game, he told me that Mr. Rihan Khan told him not to play c3 lines with me, as I will be would be better prepared. So at this position, Musawir Khan thought for some 6 minutes, and at last he played bishop to c4, the Bowdler attack with knight f3. It is a try to get me out of the book, although it is still one of the main sideline of the Sicilian, and he was trying to play the natural game, although it abandons many ideas of the white in Sicilian. As the knight is on f3, so the f4 push is not possible immediately, and this doesn't suit with the bishop at c4. Anyhow, I replied with e6, which is a must move, blunting the bishop and preparing d5, the dream of every Sicilian player. Here he replied with castling kingside, and I played d5 immediately without knight f6, because as the knight is not on c3, has in many of the lines of Bowdler, so I can directly play d5. So here I watch a game between when Forrest and Pragananda in 2022, where when Forrest played this move. So the game went like d take e, knight e5, queen c7, takes, and bishop to c4, and bishop to d6. Uh, so, uh, but here Musawir played pawn takes uh, d5, pawn takes d5, and bishop b5. So, after a thought, I calmly played knight to f6, and he replied with d4. So I was having no intention to take on d5, d4, as my knight will be under a lot of pressure then. So I played bishop to g4, uh, pinning the knight, and he replied with h3, a good move, forcing me to take on f3. And after the exchange, I played bishop to e7, and he played c3. Here I castled, and Musawir Khan took some time and then played this strange move, pawn take c5, and I take back with the bishop, and now he pinned my knight, so I return the bishop to e7. Here Musawir Khan played knight to d2, and uh, although I could have played a million of moves like h5, like queen b6, h6, queen b6, but it is always a good idea to ask some difficult questions from the opponent. In a classical game, make him think and calculate. So, if we calculate correctly, that's fine. The game will remain equal, um, but he will be tired. Uh, and this tiredness may result in some inaccuracies in later stages of the game. Uh, and if he played any inferior move, uh, then I will be not only equalized, rather I will be uh, having the initiative. So I played this complex move, knight to e4. Now there are many options with the white, uh, like he can take knight take. I can take back with the pawn. He cannot take the pawn because he will lose the bishop. So he's forced to take the bishop. Then I will take the queen. He will take my queen, and then I will take the g pawn, and he will play a rook to d1, and I will take back, and his structure will be destroyed on the king side. That is equalish game, but black is black is straightforward equalized, and uh, he can even play this intermediate move instead of uh, uh, taking my queen. Then I am forced to take the bishop, and here I will rather play any of the rook to the d file, and I will be having isolated pawn, and the game would have continued this way. But he played a move which I don't like because it is passive. So I immediately played the f5 as my knight is anchored at e4, and either he has to take at e4 and straighten my pawn structure, or he has to suffer because of the knight huge activity. So he took the knight, and after a thought, I played d take e4, because now my pawn structure on the king side is uh, uh, more dangerous, and in future I will be having this move f4 and then f3, and there will be a huge attack uh, on white queen. Now I like everyone to please pause the video for a few seconds and tell me which what will be your reply as white. There are two main options: queen to e2 or queen to d1. And there is a huge difference between these two moves. That is what I was trying to ask difficult questions from my opponent, because uh, each of these moves needs a lot of calculation and understanding of the position. And a small mistake can give a huge initiative to the black. For example, in this position, Musawir Khan play queen to d1. Now, what is the drawback of the queen to d1? To understand the drawback of the queen to d1, you have to understand what is the benefit of queen to d2 e2. After queen to e2, I can play queen to e7, and he can because this move is not possible, because he will get this tempo over my queen, and now his bishop is having a square on c1, and this bishop is attacking my pawns and king side, and his rook is not at a1, so his rook is activated and he's occupying an open file. Rather, if you play, so I would be forced to play queen to c7, and then uh, uh, then his bishop will be much better. So f4 is not possible if he had played queen to e2. But after queen to d2, f4 is possible, because now he don't have this move or intermediate move, and he cannot uh, uh, place the bishop at c1. So here he took the knight, and I took the bishop. Again, he cannot take any of these pawn, because I'm having intermediate move with check, and he will be in big trouble. For example, if he has taken my b7 pawn, then after uh, e take f2 check, and I would have exchanged, and I don't even need to save my a8 rook, because this move is coming and I'm queening either of the pawn, and it is completely winning for the black. So he cannot take the b7 pawn. If he has taken this pawn, then after exchange of the queen, I could have played rook take f2, and his whole structure is collapsing. And after these move, I don't think that uh, the fight is on, but white is rather passive, defending against this pawn. So Mr. Musawir Khan, after a long thought, played correctly this check, and then took the pawn at e3. So I was expecting this, but now because his bishop is on d5, now if I take the rook, he cannot take back with the queen, because the bishop is hanging. So he has to sacrifice the position of his king. So I uh, took the opportunity, and this will give me a few tempes against the king. That is very, very important. Uh, uh, if you look from surface, it will be just a neutral move to exchange the rook. But actually, after the exchange of the rook, I am getting few tempes over this king. And uh, for example, what I played, you will see in the game. I just played queen to b6. Now I am threatening this pawn. I am threatening this pawn, but most importantly, I am also saving this pawn. But most importantly, I am threatening this check. And this check is very, very, very important, because my pieces are coming to the attack immediately, and this attack will be overwhelming. As in the game, he saved both of his pawns with queen to e2 move. Now I played queen to f6 check, and there are two options. Again, a very difficult question uh, for white. If there are two options, one is queen to g1, the other is queen to e1. If he queen to g1, my intention was queen to e5, and if the bishop takes the pawn, then rook to b8, and after this move, there is only one saving move for the white, and that is uh, g4. And then after this check and queen to g2, I would have taken this pawn. And if he tried to block this, then I would have taken the other pawn as well. So that is the white king position is wide open, and white is in a lot of trouble. Instead, uh, he played queen to e1, avoiding all these lines, but this is straightforward losing. A brilliant move that I calculated is rook to f8. Now this f file is occupied by the rook. If my queen was now I will transfer my queen to d6, and after the movement of the bishop, this file will be occupied by the queen, and then this check will be deadly. And if we didn't move the bishop and protect the bishop by c4, then this check will be deadly as well. So Mr. Musawir Khan was worried about this move or this move, and after he takes or save his bishop, the bishop is coming here, and after this the game is simply lost because there is no square. The queen occupied this file, the rook occupied this file, so he has to interpose with queen. So after a long thought, played g3 to stop my bishop uh, to give check from h4. So I played queen to e5. Again, I thought about queen to d6 and e5. E5 is more strong, as you will see, because I'm also exerting the pressure over this line. I'm also exerting the pressure over this line. And by the way, here he cannot take the pawn because this check will lose the bishop. So uh, here he played g3, I played queen to e5, and he tried to protect the pawn because if he move his bishop, the game will be straight lost after queen takes the, for example, this, and check, he will lose the rook at the corner. So he played queen to g2, and I took the bishop. He tried to activate his rook with d1, and I replaced my queen to e5, and after he played rook to d4, I simply moved my rook up to f3, attacking this pawn, and he replied with queen to d2, trying to get benefit of the back rank issues. For example, this will be a straightforward checkmate, but I didn't allow time for that. And now I pin his rook, so he cannot queen, so he cannot play rook to d1 check, as I will take, and the queen cannot take back because the queen is pinned to the king, and he is losing. Here he resigns. So a brilliant game. There are so many tactics and positional ideas in this game. Hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe. Thank you so much.